Good morning. In today's pocket nines. In this hand, we have under the gun player. Open raises to two big blinds. He's playing 18-12 right now. Only have 30 some hands with him. His early position raise first in says 33%, but it's 2 out of 6. I do have some notes on him, so I must have played with him a bit before. Or he, yeah, because with all these hands on here, he should have a much higher VPIP. But I could see that he c-bets, he triple barrels ace queen when he's in position. So I'm going to guess that he's actually somewhat of a decent player. I am going to take out the premium, like ace queen, ace king, and king's plus, probably queen's plus. I think if he was going to be raising, he probably would be raising a little bit larger with those hands, or maybe he's tricky. Maybe he's betting two to get somebody to raise, and then he could 3-bet. So we're going to put those at 50% just to include the possibility. We could maybe do 25%. Might be a little bit more realistic, but I will include him in, and then I think he's actually pretty decent. As an under the gun player, probably doesn't have the super low pocket pairs. Probably has some suited connectors. Maybe he has ace 4, ace 5. Who, I don't know, but I think that's a suitable range. And then we're going to get two callers, cutoff and button, before it gets to me. This player's playing 21-13. I think his range is going to be something like this. Maybe suited aces, some suited connectors, pocket pairs. I see pocket pairs are going to be make up a fairly large part of his range. I think ace jack, king queen is in his range. He does have 8% 3-bet range, so I do think he would be raising like jacks plus, ace queen, your premiums. On the cutoff, I have VPIP at 10%, 1 out of 10. His call this is the first time he's called a 2-bet, so I think it's probably nothing super strong. And then this player's actually, I'm going to give him a wider range. Probably, you can see the wider range makes it an overall weaker range. He is playing 42%. He 3-bets a little bit, but his big blind 47% from the big blind, with a call of about 23%. So this is probably about right. I think if it folded to him, he'd probably add your offsuit aces and so forth. So now it's on me. What do I do? Versus an early position player, we could see the red and the gray. Those are our red's the 3-bet. No problem. I would have been 3-betting these. The gray is a 3-better call range. We're out of position in the small blind. I do think we have the opportunity to go ahead and raise those. And raise is a possible squeeze and pick them up. Question is, am I going to get a bunch of folds? And I might. This guy is probably folding. This guy's has folded 3 out of 3, fold to 3-bet after a raise 3 out of 3 times. This guy's fold to a 3-bet after raise 25% of the time. If anyone's going to call, it's probably going to be him. And then we also have to consider, we're going 4-way. If I just call, does it make sense to raise and blast people out when I have some hands that could actually flop pretty big, pretty decent hands, and get paid by some of these players? So, I think he has a potential to triple barrel, and if I flop trips, he's just going to be triple barreling the entire time. Whereas if I raise, he may just fold his ace queen, ace jack hands. So I think we could call here with our nines and hope to flop big. Or I think today, if I was playing the same today, and I don't know when I played it, but if I played it today, I'd probably go for a raise. Just be the aggressor, because I know that if I raise and I get called, I could easily win with the c-bet. And if the flop comes down something like ace 9 little, ace 9 junk, this player probably calls with an ace. This player's probably going to have ace good kicker. I'm going to get paid. They're going to pay me off because they're going to have that good kicker. So I think today I probably would raise, but in this hand I just called, and we see a flop. So I'm just going to use my calling 3-bet range right there, and we see a board of king 8-5. So not the greatest. Not the greatest by any measure. We don't. If we had a 9 of heart, I think we would be looking at continuing, because that gives us backdoor heart draw, and we have some backdoor straight potential with a 6 and a 7. So this board isn't that great. I don't think we're going to be leading. I think king's going to hit too many of his raising range and probably calling ranges as well. So I think we check and we evaluate. So now he bets a little more than a third. I think he's going to be betting probably all of this. So his c-bet stats 100% when he's in position. Actually out of position. So yeah, I must play with this guy before, and this is only showing like the last 3 months. Let me check this out. All right, yeah, so my HUD profile says stats from the last 26 weeks. I don't know when this hand was played. Well, actually I do. This was played back in March of this year, so I think we're outside, or we're almost outside of that 26-week range. So that's 6 months, basically. We could probably go for more, increase that to get these hands a little bit, but a little bit more information. But I think I'm just going to go off of our numbers. I mean, we have a lot of people that don't have a huge number of hands in our database, so let's go off of these. So he bets. I'm going to say, knowing that he c-bets a lot, we're going to say any pair. He's going to bet flush draw, open enders. He's going to bet. I think I want to do the overcards. Yeah, I want those. I want all of those. I think I'm going to leave off like the queen, jack 10, and so forth. So 92% he bets. We got villain 7 folds. So he obviously missed. He could have, maybe suited ace, maybe these connectors, or even a under pair, and he just doesn't like it. Next player calls. All right, so this player calls. He's going to have something. I'm going to include a set in there. We're going to include top pair, pocket pair. I'm going to include the middle pairs. These under pairs, I don't think he's going to have. We'll include flush draw, open ender, do something like that. So his fold to c-bet stats about 50% or so. He's in position on this. We've got 41%. He's continuing with that. That matches. I think that's okay. And he has draws. He's going to have pairs and so forth. Maybe top pair, maybe heart draw. So he calls, and then it's on me. And we have a call. We're getting 4.5 to 1. We need 18% equity. The question is, are we going to have it? I don't know. I don't think this is a good spot to raise. I can tell you that. I think we raise. We're getting called by hearts. I think we're getting called by nines. It's going to be hard for us to rep. Our check raise is going to look a lot like trips. It's going to look like it's 8s or 5s. Who's trying to be scared of the king? So we're kind of face up, and I think that's about it. I don't even think we have 8-5 in our range, or king 8 or king 5. So it'll just be trips, and then we don't really have anything else. And we know 8s and 5s aren't, we didn't call with them. Now potentially we could have called with 8s, or we could have called with 5s. I mean, depending on how the table plays out and how the day is going. But it's going to be hard for us to rep something other than trips. And then if we have that set, what do we balance it with? Maybe the heart, maybe the ace 8, which we could definitely do. But I think that's a little too optimistic. I think in this situation, when we call, we have our range way too narrow. So then villain could say, well, if a heart doesn't come, I'm going to continue all the way. Or if a heart comes, I could easily fold. Or if they have the ace of hearts, they put us on trips. So I don't necessarily like the check raise, but in terms of the calls, I think top pair we can call. I think all of these pocket pair below the top pair possibly call. I think we just dump. Two people are already in the hand. Let's not go for the 2-card backdoors, backdoor flush draw. And with our flush draw, I think we're looking at maybe the queen, jack, jack 10. That's going to give us our possible straight potential, backdoor straights. I think queens, jacks, 10s, and 9s we're calling a little bit for value because I think he can bet with nothing. So we could be ahead of him. But this player probably has some draws, so we could kind of see. I think it would be bad to fold at this point and give up our equity. So I think we can call. I didn't. I folded. So we're going to keep my hand going through, and we're going to say I think we called. I understand why I folded because I do think we're up against two players. There's probably a decent chance that someone has a king. However, we're including all the pairs all the way down to 8s for this guy too. Because he is pretty loose. Flop comes out with a 5. So pairs the board. Villain bets. Now he's betting small again. So let's go back to our bet size. So I've got C bet less than 1/3 with ace queen on a king, queen, king flop. He barrel and river bets less than 30% of the pot when he's got like a second pair versus a king. I don't have a bet size for that other triple barrel. So at this point, we're going to start to take notes on here so that we can figure out what he has. So RFI under the gun, 2 big blinds with whatever. And then he bets about 1/3. And then he bet, we'll say 1/3. And then this is about 30%. And we're going to get our flop here, king of hearts, 8 of diamonds, 5 of hearts, and then 5 of clubs. So we will say out of position. I do think we need to say what they're doing. So he bets. Let's go back to his range here. He bets small again, so now it's looking like top pair, maybe queens. I mean, that would be consistent with his other play. And he was capable of betting. Did he have a draw? I've got played turn draw aggressively. Okay. Maybe he's got the flush draw. Maybe he has the open ender. I guess we can include those, but those are going to be pretty small. So we're looking at top pair or like queens, jacks, 10s, and 9s. We know 9s aren't out there. And I think that could be justified for his small sizing. I kind of feel like, though, if he had top pair, he might be betting larger. And I kind of feel like over pair, he would be betting larger. I think full house and the quads, they're made no reason for him to go smaller. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do something like that. Villain calls. Now he just calls instead of raising. So I think calling is suitable for quads or full house. I think that matches him. I don't like the, I guess if he's not overly aggressive, and I guess a 42-13 isn't really overly aggressive, I could see him call with the top pair. But I don't think we've got middle pair or pocket pair less than the top card. Flush draw, open ender, definitely. I think these are going to be lower frequencies. I guess he could, well, calling station. I do have some notes on him. Check raise with second pair. Raise flop c-bet with overpair or less. Donks flop. I think that's all of the notes. So maybe. I think that's optimistic at this point. So we're going to just go 50% for those. And I think probably 50% for those just for the unknown factor. So we'll just do something like that. Again, top pair is going to be heavy in his range, along with some of the draws, along with the heart draws. If I was playing here, I would probably fold. I think we're going to be behind a villain 3. I think he might be on a draw or has the king. I think the bet sizing is interesting, though. So I would have called the flop, and then on here we do have top pair. I think the under pairs would probably just have to get away from it. So top pair and the flush draw would be our call if I was playing that. All right, so 3 of hearts comes out. Heart completes. Now he bets 11, which is closer to like 35%. Maybe, yeah, closer to 35%. So 3 hearts. Actually, we'll do this. That's like 35%. He did 33%, bet 35%, bet 35%. Raised under the gun, 2 big blinds. He fires out again. Maybe he does that again, but I don't think so. I think once a heart gets there, it's going to be flush plus. I think is what we're looking at. I think that's his range. I can't imagine a reasonable player would fire that third barrel when that heart comes down, because I think he has over 20% of his calling cards are going to be a heart. So he bets, and then this guy calls. And again, he's got flush plus. You can see out of his entire range, flush has just now made 23%. So I think top pair, and maybe if he's stubborn, again, those hands, though. So yeah, if I checked, I can't call. I'm folding this. And let's see what they have. So he shows king pair. He shows top pair. I didn't have king 10 offsuit in his range, but he did. So I think we're going to make a note here. Oops, let's get flop on there. Because he called under the gun, 2 big blind, RFI. On button, king, gun, 10 of clubs, and then call. On a king of hearts, 8 of diamonds, 5 of hearts board, 5 of clubs, 3 of hearts. So he did just call down with the heart, with the top pair. It kind of makes sense. I mean, I had that in his range. What is this guy showing? Aces. So I didn't have that in there because if you remember, I took it out right here. I took that over pair out and the top pair because I assumed he would be betting larger, but he didn't. He was betting the smaller size with the over pair. Maybe, I mean, him having ace of hearts is good because he knows that the ace x hearts is not out there, the suited hearts, and that's going to be most of the heart flush draw. So yeah, so just add in another note. So yeah, with overpair, just to clarify that. Yeah, I would have been behind. Kind of felt like I would be. I don't really like the flop fold. I think I gave up some equity there. I should be calling that, but I wouldn't have won the hand. If I called the flop, I'm gonna probably be folding the turn. So, you can look at it as I saved myself some money, but I also gave up some equity, a little bit of equity, because we do know he's gonna triple barrel with, ace queen, and no pair with that. So, all right. Hopefully you enjoy this hand. We went through it. Really I wasn't in it, but we worked through the hand reading, kind of adding to our database our notes of these players. If you enjoyed this hand, look tomorrow for another.